On first, let me give thanks to and shout out to my BS3 Network brother here, Al High, for the super chat contribution to the show. Thank you, Al. Appreciate that. Uh, and if you want to do what Al did, there's a way to do it. Just click on the dollar sign. You can contribute with a super chat or a super sticker, and I will thank you on the air for it. But I'm bringing in my sister, Kim Y. Davis, to join the discussion. Like I said, the band is back. It's the folks talking sports. So we're back talking sports. We're going to talk, and the Kim's timing is excellent because I really want to get KD's thoughts on this. Not too complicated. Just a little backstory for all three of y'all. Is not a fan of Jalen Green. Okay, not at all. And any chance complicated gets, Will, he types Chris, Jalen Green for Cade Cunningham, man. It's got to happen. It's got to happen, man. It's got to happen. Got to happen. Come on. I mean, Cade will look great in Rocket Red. So that's why this is for you. It's for everybody. The Cavs need Jalen Green.
Oh, wow.
Donovan Mitchell plays better in red. See, I'm just giving you a backstory so you know where it's coming from with that kind of comment. But Kim, how are you doing, first of all?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Hello. Seen you guys in a while. Good to see you. Thanks for always appreciate the invite.
Thank you for joining us. And you also cover the Rockets. So your thoughts on young Mr. Green and what he did or did not do in the first round of the playoffs?
Well, I don't think it makes me real insightful to say that he didn't play well, right? He struggled. But I might be in the minority of people who are ready to jump off the bandwagon. I think it's early. And when I look at players that are young, that come into the league, and when they kind of start to really take that next step, it takes them a few years. I think the comparison that people in this market do with Amen Thompson is kind of ridiculous. Amen Thompson came into the league in a NBA man player's body, right? So he already came with something that Jalen is still trying to get. So what I think is he didn't play well. We saw one flash in one game, and I think that it's too early to say, as some in this market have said, the Jalen Green experiment has failed. I think the experience of being together as a team matters. Being in the Ime Udoka system matters. So let's see what happens next year, and then decide, have a better sense of what should happen with a player like Jalen Green. Listen, they have they need somebody who can score, and there are many people who, for some reason, thought that was going to be Reed Shepherd this year. I still don't understand why. Reed didn't have a big history, right? He didn't have a big body of work. He played 1 year, and I believe he came off the bench initially, and he came into the league, and I'm sure we've seen him shoot. We know he can shoot it, but he just wasn't ready. Yeah, he's scared to shoot it. He wasn't ready. And so let's see what happens after another summer with him. I'm really curious to see what Jalen Green does this summer. That's going to be really key. And so a long answer to your question, I thought he didn't play well. He thought he didn't play well. And I don't think that's not a hard take to come to, is that Jalen struggled in the playoffs.
I'm glad KD said all that because I'm going to differ with my sister and say, I think it's time. Well, by February deadline, February 26th, Jalen will be gone. I don't see him getting better. I don't see him improving. I don't see him figuring it out. I don't believe he's got that dog in him like a lot of the viewers use that terminology here on the Round Bar View shows. He's just not that dude. I don't see it. Will, KP, what do you think?
I have a question. Chris, do you say that because you don't see that in his personal makeup, or it's just not the right fit for him to become what fans want him to become?
I don't think he's the right fit.
Okay. It's not necessarily he doesn't have the skill set or can't develop the skill set. It's just not the right place for him.
Not the right place for him. I just don't see him fitting here. And I'm going to put some of this on him as well because of the defenses, and you guys, let me know if you agree or disagree. The defenses the Warriors played on Jalen were similar to the defenses they played against Anthony Edwards. Traps, half court, get him in traps, forcing the ball out of his hands. Anthony Edwards still got it done. He figured it out on his own. Sometimes he had to figure out his own. Didn't wait for his coaches to tell him what you need to do. Jalen didn't do it. I've heard from other colleagues, other former players. Jalen still needs to learn how to play basketball, NBA basketball. That's something he has to figure out. The Rockets need more help for him there. He needs to go somewhere else. I don't think they're going to help him turn on that light switch, and it doesn't help him. I don't believe for Ime to call him out and say, or not call him out directly, but say post-game shows, it's nice to have a player after the game against Minnesota. It's nice to have a player who can get buckets at the end of games.
But how much of the responsibility lies on the organization as far as player development?
So I think you make some good points, Chris. I think that's a great question, Kenisha. Somebody said he's in his own head. I think he is. I mean, I go back to last year when Alperen Sengun was out. We saw a very different Jalen Green, right? Spacing is an issue with this team. And so that, we saw him do some of the things that we would have liked to have seen him do in the playoffs. I wondered at the end of last year when we saw that version of the Rockets, what's going to happen? How do they get this with Sengun and a Jalen and trying to have that's an issue for them as a team. So I don't know what Jalen's going to do, which is why I say I'm curious about the summer and how he goes into the fall. I think right now today is too soon, but I think if you see what happens this summer, how do they go into the fall? I mean, you're talking about, a few months short of a year when you say the trade deadline from next year. So what do they do differently? I know that Alperen Sengun had some numbers. There are a lot of Sengun fans around. I think he did some good things, but he clogs things up. So they've got a problem with their system too. They've got to figure out offensively some other things to do, and it's not just Jalen. I mean, they could probably call the four of us to try to hit a basket. Nobody could score.
I guess that would be my question as well, Chris. As far as if he's not a fit now, why wait till February 26th? This summer,
ego.
Oh, okay. Because the summer, I think you would get better value in the summer than you would at trade deadline if you're going to make a move.
Oh, I agree. And
I don't think Ime's out on him yet. I think Ime wants to see a little bit. I think it's that. I mean, I don't. The Raphael thing, I don't know sometimes what he's thinking and what he does. I think that Ime wants to see a little bit of what he does after having this playoff run and having him show up or not show up the way he did. How does he respond to that? I think that's from what I know of Ime, he wants to see a little bit of what's the response from Jalen. And it doesn't take you a real long time to know what that is.
I believe, and Tony, and this is not a good thing, saying Jalen was looking as scared as Reed Shepherd. That's not a compliment, clearly.
That is not a compliment.
And Reed's job, his rookie season, was to shoot. That was his job on the floor, shoot the ball. Not think about it, not pause, not hesitate. Your one strength right now as a rookie, the reason they draft you so high, too high, in most of our opinions,
right,
was to shoot the basketball. So when Reed got on the court and hesitated, why am I playing you then, young man? Your defense is not good enough yet right now anyway. So your one job is to shoot the ball. He didn't do that. So they sent him down, G League, all that kind of stuff. But for Jalen, Thrillo brings up a great question. How will Jalen handle the organization giving the keys to Amen? Amen, in this era, now that Nico Harrison has opened all of our eyes, proving to us that anybody is tradable, Amen Thompson is the closest Rocket to being untradeable on the team, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. And talking to people in the organization, I would agree with that as well. And here's the thing. If it mattered enough to Jalen to care about them giving the keys to Amen, I think Jalen would do something. I think either he's going to do something different and say, now is my time. This is it. Like talk about being on the clock, or he's not. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't worry about somebody else having the keys and you not turn that switch on that you're talking about. So I don't really think that's an issue. You
So,
know,
and I think Ime, as Kim mentioned, he's given Jalen, they're going to give him as much of an opportunity to prove his worth. November, December, January. It's going to be up to him. I just don't believe he's going to get it done. I just don't. I hope he proves me wrong, because as somebody who covers the Rockets and the shows are more popular when they're winning and all that kind of stuff, hey, I hope he does a great job. I want him to shine. I just don't think he's going to do it. I just don't.
he's
And
got to look bigger. Like not too complicated said, he looks like like a high school. He's got to develop somewhat of an NBA body. I mean, we're now far enough into his career where he's got to pack on a little bit of weight. Like he's got to be able to fight through some of those screens and traps, because it wasn't like he was going against an Amen. Steph Curry is not a big dude. Like he's strong and he's fierce, but you've got to fight through that. And if he's not going to be able to do it, he's going to have a hard time in the league. So
and Will and KP, that's one thing. Probably game one in the first round, Jalen struggled to get by Steph on the perimeter.
yeah, he did.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, young fella, if you were having problems getting past a 37-year-old dude who's not known as a great defensive player, that's a problem.
But psychologically,
Yeah.
here's the question. The playoff experience, the championship experience, the championship culture that is within the Warriors,
Yeah.
whether the Rockets want to admit it or not, the naivete of just not like we're just happy to be here. And yes, no disrespect to what they did over the regular season, but come playoff time,
Right.
it's just different. It's a different mindset. It's a different attitude. It's a different experience.
True.
And other than like Van Vliet, I mean, like,
yeah, and being there matters. You make a point. Like being there matters. We know what playoff Steph is. We know what playoff Jimmy Buckets is. We know what playoff. Listen, if you cover the Rockets fans have PTSD about the Warriors. This team has been, the core of it has been in place. They've got a coach that's been there. Listen, I like Ime Udoka. I think he does a great job, but this is his third season as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So experience matters from top to bottom. And the Warriors, on paper, it was a good matchup for the Rockets. But when you talk about the things that Kenitra just mentioned that really matter, that experience, the championship DNA, those things I think matter far more.
I agree with what they said, and I still picked the Rockets to win in 7.
I did too.
Because as a Warriors fan pointed out during our discussions after games, if Jalen had just played C+ basketball in this series, the Rockets would have won the series.
Mm-hmm.
That's average for him, and he didn't do it.
We also had a very quiet Dylan Brooks in this series.
Toward the end, he did too. He disappeared. But
the way this team is won, you didn't really have those things happening in the playoffs. Obviously, you see what Jalen didn't do, and it's easy to say, it's Jalen, right? But the stuff that you would get normally from a Dylan Brooks defensively, right? Defensively, his defense isn't what it used to be because he's focused a little more on his offense, but you didn't get that really from Dylan. And even what you got from Alpi, I don't know. There was a bit too much of the deer in headlights in general from me, except from like a Fred and from a Jabari Smith Jr., who I quite frankly am a friend of.
Well, he didn't get enough touches. Jabari,
they didn't get enough touches.
So I put that on Ime at times. Yeah. Now Jabari needs to improve his ball handling with his left hand.
Team can handle the ball. None of them can handle.
I mean, when they went to triple bigs, Jabari, Şengün, Steven Adams, and Jabari's being guarded by somebody 6'3", 6'4", getting the ball on the block, Ime. This common sense. Didn't do that.
Yeah.
So a lot of different factors into why they did not win in the first round, advance in the first round. Thank you for comment from Samuel and Tony. Everybody, appreciate y'all. Good to see some of these names I haven't seen in a while. Like I said, the band is back together on this edition of Folks Talking Sports. I'm going to try something different with this next little switch here because I want to put up a slide. So let's see how this goes. So let me add everyone because I know y'all are here.
Fancy.
So let's do that. And now, just your thoughts on the all NBA teams. You have any issue, and I think I got all three of them up here. Go through them. Any issue with anybody on the first team?
No, not for me.
Nope. No issue for me.
Second team. Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Ant-Man, LeBron, Evan Mobley.
Nope.
I mean, is LeBron, is that kind of like a career achievement award placement?
He still had a hell of a career. I mean, hell of a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that too a little bit with Steph, although he came on later for Steph. So I'm kind of where you are, but I'm okay with it.
And then third team. And keep in mind, of course, you had to play at least 65 games too. So there probably were some guys who missed out because they did not play enough games.
Right.
That number 2 looks real good to me. Boy, I'm that number 2
I
uniform.
know you are. I know you are.
Oh man, looks great.
And then there's James Harden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
James had a bounce back season. You got to give him credit. He had a bounce back year.
Listen, it's not so much what he does in the regular season that's ever really been a concern about James Harden.
Oh well, playoff James whole kind of different.
Right. So this is regular season. I have to remind myself this is third team regular season. Okay.
So WK agrees with you. Kim says LeBron got legacy award spot on. Will.
I mean, it's all debatable. It's subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, 24, 8 and 8.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
LeBron, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a season. So
yeah.
He didn't do great in the playoffs. He did what he could in the playoffs, and Luka didn't do his part as well. But just want to put that up there. Okay, now this is going to surprise Kim, perhaps. Kenitra and I have been talking about this. Kansas Athletics has cut its workforce by 8 to 10% to save $3 million. It's all part of revenue sharing. All right, Will, Kim, audience. So this was announced Tuesday by the athletic director, Travis Goff. It began with a hiring freeze at the start of last fall, continuing by offering its employees voluntary separations in January, and most recently undergoing a, quote, involuntary targeted reduction, end quote, or layoffs. KU Athletics has cut down its number of employees by 8 to 10%. Goff emphasized in an interview that this comes at an unprecedented time during which college athletic programs are dealing with a, quote, combination of, frankly, a financial model that across the country is not very viable, one, with the intersection of NIL and then the House settlement, too. I'm really proud of how we've managed this dynamic this year. And then lastly, he said, my belief is many places across the country are doing similar type of work. And I'll be honest with you, those that aren't ought to be, because this is not unique to KU in this environment by any stretch of the imagination. I'm proud that we're taking responsibility and actively and strategically managing it, end quote. Goff said that the reduction of 30 employees will save the department approximately $3 million. Thoughts on that from the shiny ivory tower of The Ohio State University, sir?
Why? Well, I knew that was coming. Yeah. if it's not happening, it should be. We don't see it that way up here. Um, I understand why it's happening there. I understand it will be happening probably in many, many, many more places around the country. Um, Ohio State did do some proactive things. They haven't reduced staffing as of yet, and nor do I think that will be an option. But monies are being allocated differently. I will say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure, for sure. You know, check writers are beginning to ask a few more questions as to, where's my 300,000 going, and is that the best use of my $300,000? So those questions are being asked, but I don't know that. Um, there have been some creative revenue streams created to kind of combat any issues that could occur, but as far as elimination of roles or anything, that has not happened here.
KD, thank you for sharing the show link. I see Mike chiming in. Mike, I haven't seen that name in a long time. Props to you, Mike. Good to see you. Kansas needs to blame their NCAA people. It's their fault for never addressing it to begin with. They waited on the NCAA to make a decision, and the NCAA passed the buck multiple times. Kanitra, you have ties to KU athletics. Your thoughts on the reduction and what Will stated as well?
Well, it also has to do with the new stadium.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you spend an entire football season playing no games in Lawrence, Kansas, you played 2 non-conference games in Kansas City, Kansas, essentially 45 minutes from campus. And then you played all of your conference home games in the state of Missouri, in Arrowhead Stadium. So you did not have that revenue stream in the local economy or in campus. So like there's a lot of money you did not make this year. Plus they didn't make a bowl game either. So, and while the renovations at the booth are on schedule, there are different phases that are envisioned. Right now, there's not enough money to complete those visions. Conference center, hotel, housing, parking. Yeah. So like you're trying to, save money. You're trying to ask for more money. You're trying to be responsible financial stewards of your investors' money. And, across campus, you have associate head coach Norm Roberts, who decides to retire from basketball. You bring in Jacques Vaughn to replace him. So there's,
KP, this question for you, and then I got one more slide for discussion. Could cuts across the board have saved positions?
I don't know, because again, I haven't been as closely aligned with KU over the past year. Of the 30 positions that were eliminated, I only personally know of one, the social media coordinator for men's basketball. So I don't know exactly, what else could have been done to save those positions. Because also, by now, we expected the House settlement to be announced. Like, that was supposed to have been done months ago. We're still waiting on that just to see, okay, how much money is there going to be for revenue sharing for these student, Chris, assets?
Thank you.
So, we're waiting to see on that.
Yep. It was the week of April 7th initially for Judge Wilkin to make a decision and announcement, and now we're almost with the last week of May. Maybe she might make a ruling this week. We'll see. But next, school made a decision. OU decided to lay off 5% of their staff due to looming revenue sharing. They confirmed to the OU Daily, late Thursday, what athletic departments learned via mass email on Wednesday. The university is laying off employees due to the looming realities of starting to share revenue with athletes. According to the email, which was shared with the Daily by an equipment manager, athletic director Joe Castiglione wrote that OU has reached a critical moment that requires the department to restructure its staff functions, resulting in a limited reduction in force, quote unquote. Mike Hauk, an associate AD, wrote Thursday in an email to OU Daily that 5% of 302 full-time non-student department employees would be cut. That equates to approximately 15 positions and follows what Hauk described as significant cost cutting over the past 9 months. On February 19th, Castiglione wrote in a public letter to fans saying that OU planned to share the maximum allowed annual revenue of $20.5 million starting, that'll be this coming year. It's going to go up 3%, starting July 1st, following the quote unquote expected approval of House versus NCAA, an ongoing $2.8 billion class action lawsuit settlement that would enable universities to pay athletes a portion of their media revenues. According to the letter, OU plans to use the $20.5 million to reallocate existing funds and evaluate future ticket pricing and premium offerings across all sports. Castiglione said that there would be new parameters for name, image, and likeness after July 1, and that providing financial support would be the university's primary competitive edge in recruiting and maintaining student assets. Thoughts on OU laying off some folks?
I mean, I think it's just the same thing, right? It's first the NCAA going kicking and screaming into sharing revenue with the student athletes, or as you call them, student assets rather, right? The ones who said we better get on board and figure it out, and the ones who were like, no, we're not doing that. We deserve all the money. You're getting an education. I think that's part of it. I also think that it's still kind of the wild, wild west because they didn't really embrace it before they were forced to do it. There was no real plan of how it would be managed and rolled out. And now they're trying to figure it out on the back end. So like Mike says, it's kind of the NCAA's fault for, just their arrogance and the greed that they've had so long. And the schools that handled it head on up front are, faring a little bit better. But this is a real thing now, and they're going to have to figure it out. Could coaches get less money? I don't know.
They could, but they won't.
That's where you can really save some money. And because if you start talking about the cuts in the departments, I mean, some schools are better staffed than others, but Kenisha mentioned the person that did social media for the basketball team. Those positions are kind of important for what it does, in terms of their messaging and talking about the players. And I think it's just the chickens coming home to roost, and how they're handling it will be really interesting.
And then I also think it's also not just roster management. If everyone, once this all goes through, all the players have to be on scholarship. But also, let's look at the staffs. Yeah. Do you need 8 analysts right. on a football staff, in addition to all of all the position coaches and coordinators? Do you need, and same thing with other sports, special advisor to the head? What exactly is that?
Right.
That's an alumni that's coming back. Sorry, didn't say that. I didn't mean. I mean, I've heard. Yeah. I've heard.
People say.
Yes.
Sources say.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's a way to streamline if they're serious about, like, hey, you got to trim the fat.
Yeah.
You know,
And let
maybe
me
look at the
say this,
construction of the coaching staffs.
KP. Let me see if I can go
Especially
back to the
football,
comment.
Kenesha. Those staffs are huge.
Oh, I got one to blow your mind in a second. But KP, could Jock Vaughn here being back at Kansas, is he the heir apparent to Bill Self?
I mean, could be. I mean, that one thing that's unique about Kansas is just they've just had so few head coaches in program history. He's one of theirs. He comes back. He has NBA experience, so that is very valuable. If you've seen like kind of what athletic departments are doing now, they're bringing in those with professional experience to kind of prepare the current players to become professional athletes. So, you know, Jacques knows what it means to be a head coach in the NBA. I mean, and most of these players, that's their dream. They want to go pro. You know, and then, you know, yes, Bill Self has a lifetime contract, but, you know, we saw what happened a year ago, 2 years ago, you know, with the heart issue. So, you know, excuse me for a moment.
Will and everybody, audience as well. Will, I think you'll love this.
Okay.
Or shake your head, as I really, when you shake your head, I laugh.
Okay.
Coach Huey.
Uh-oh.
Ronald Huey, former head coach women's basketball at Houston. His staff. He had more on his staff at some time this past season than he had players, healthy players.
Wow.
Okay, so he had 1, 2, 3, at least 3 assistant coaches, video coordinator, the director of ops, this, that, and other time. You know, I want the bench was full. Okay, not of players, of staff, and they won one Big 12 game. And that staff did not work for free. So the ROI on all those people on staff to produce one win in conference, what the hell?
So I guess my question to that is the new coach, does he have a similar size staff, or has he?
He sure does. Yes, he does.
Okay. I mean, that I would say that's the going rate. I mean, that's what programs now require or feel they require in order to field a team. You know, whether, you know, if it's successful or not, that's kind of the going rate, if I can say it like that.
But I mean, you know, and then also, you know, coaches, head coaches, in their contracts, they get allocated a pool of money for their staff, and it's up to that coach to how he or she wants to divvy up that money. And then a lot of times when it comes time for renewal, there'll be a clause and the head coach will defer, like, take care of my assistants. Like, I'm like, the head coaches set, they're good. They want to make sure that their assistants are taken care of financially.
And to that end, and wrap it up, because I want to let folks, myself included, get ready to watch Knicks Pacers game 3. But Mike, I mean, being funny but serious, I'm going to tell my old college coach to hire me as the student asset, Mike. On my shows, student asset. They're not student athletes, student assets. Podcast coordinator, create that position. And the not too complicated coach Huey should get a statue for what not to be like. But
one of his assistants, right, is a head coach at PV.
Yes, you love that, Will. Coach Ty Dillard got hired to be the head coach at Prairie View women's basketball, and the press release was glowing. Her success, her, and I was like,
I had to read it twice. I was like, who is this?
I was like, okay.
Oh, wow.
If you didn't know any better, you'd be like, wow, they got a great hire.
I mean, just because of where she came from. I mean, you know, perhaps she's kicks it in, you know.
You know, and I probably talk to Ty, keep in touch with her, and probably have her a guest on the show soon. But she wanted to stay in the area, so that's a big factor for her to go to Prairie View and be head coach. And I hope she gets the support from the administration that she needs in terms of staffing. It's a power conference thing. You're going to have 4, 5, 6 assistant coaches, 3, 4, 5 other staffers to work out for your position coaches. There we go. So on top of video coordinators and this, that, and the other. But the last thing that Kenitra touched on about the salary pool for coaches, Coach Kelvin Sampson got a raise and a new contract extension, 4 more years. But his main reasoning for it was for his staff to get a boost in salary. So that's what the new extension got for him, is to make sure his staff got raises and for them. So it's commendable. And he's still going to win, barring injuries, waiting on Milos Uzan to make his decision about whether he's going to stay in the NBA or return to Houston. Got until May 28th to decide that for college players. He should return. He's still looking for that guaranteed from a team that draft him, or period will. I don't think he's going to get drafted. So he's really going to go the rare route to get a guaranteed deal as an undrafted player. It happened.
Not come back?
Yeah, because his performance at the 5-on-5 at the combine, he averaged, he shot 3 for 12 in the 2 games combined, had 1 rebound, total, 1 rebound, had 9 assists combined in the 2 games. And the mock drafts and folks that I respect no longer list him in the second round.
That's interesting. In this day and age of NIL, that he would look for an undrafted free agent deal versus
sticking it out.
He is probably a very limited number that still shows him in the second round. But those outlets I don't respect. Okay, so take it for what it's worth. Now we could argue that he's trying to get a raise from the collective.
Yeah,
that has been known.
Okay,
and that's possible. Milos did have a workout with the Warriors on Thursday. He said he mentioned it was his 6th NBA team to work out. I don't know if he's going to get drafted. I wish him the best of luck.
Is G League better than a sure thing back in college?
No,
I don't think so.
No, especially pay-wise.
Because you're not making any money. You make more money in college.
Way more money.
And you're on TV more.
And you're on TV more, right?
And so wrap it up real quick here, because let me see. Corey Milos should come back. Samuel, is there a baseline now to establish ROI? No, but I'm pretty sure some alums are going to start asking about it.
Right.
Why do we have all these people on staff if we're still losing? So that's probably coming. But it's just like all young people who play basketball growing up. Their dream is to make it to the pros, NBA, WNBA. We all understand that and respect it. And I'm going to go a step further back. Milos' performance in the Final Four, those 2 games.
Yeah.
He checked out. It looked like he wasn't there.
For him.
He didn't play well at all. But I still wish him the best of luck. He's a Coug. Once a Coug, always a Coug. But as WK states, we stated there is too much money in college basketball for players to go pro prematurely. I agree. And it's interesting, the discussion with some of my buddies. Some say Milos is going to come back. Some say Milos is going to stay in the NBA. So we don't even know what way Milos is thinking. So we're going to find out on May 28th. And then soon after that, based on whatever he decides, we'll have our next Let's Rage Coug show and to discuss his choice. If he comes back, there's going to be a lot of guards with freshman 4-star / 5-star Kingston Flemings, incoming transfer, Pop Isaacs. Mercy Miller's probably going to still wants to play. So if Milos comes back, that's 4, and coach only plays really 3 at the point guard spot. So who knows what's going to happen there? But I mean, time will tell. Milos, do what's best for you. Corey, I see your question. Lastly, Todd Whitting, baseball coach, he needs to be gone. He needs to go too. And this is it. Excuse me. The last thing for everybody. This is UH baseball. Had the Big 12 pitcher of the year. Still finished under 500 in conference play. Antoine Jean, he's from Montreal. Antoine Jean, relief pitcher. First relief pitcher to win Big 12 pitcher of the year in the history of the conference. Was dominant. His strikeout per innings pitched, he almost averaged 1.5 strikeouts per innings pitched. It's like 100 strikeouts. He ends up like 110 in 70 innings. I mean, it was just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. The problem was the Cougs cannot get leads to get to him enough. The games he did pitch in, I think they won maybe 14, 15 conference games. He was responsible for like 10 of those wins. Okay. So, but the conference coaches thought so highly of him that he was voted the Big 12 pitcher of the year on a losing team.
Will he be on the team next year?
No, he's gone. He's a graduate, transferred from Alabama to come to Houston. The one saving grace.
If your relief pitcher, like not your starter, not your like your midweek starter or your weekend start, your relief pitcher, that's problematic.
He was like a long reliever. Like, so if those rare chances that they had late after 5 innings, he went and finished off the game. 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to say, remember the press release, he pitched 5+ innings, probably like 5 or 6 times in conference play. 5 as a relief pitcher. So he was long relief, short relief. If they got a lead, Antoine, go save us to get this win. And he did it more times than not. But he's done.
Hey, they won a tournament game.
They did. Surprised me. And the game was on ESPNU, which I didn't know about until I switched and found it. I was like, oh, they got Big 12 baseball on linear TV. Who knew?
I think I'm more impressed, Chris, with the fact that I'm listening to you sit here talk about baseball.
The reason since I'm doing it is because he was pitcher of the year in the conference.
Right. But still,
because if he weren't, I would.
I'm like, I'm just like baseball, right?
Yeah.
Look at you.
So I can do it. Hey, it's Folks Talking Sports. I'm letting the audience know it's not just hoops on here on FTS. So Mike, Corey, Tony, WK, Samuel, Miss Wanda. That's a good question. I'm not sure if it's over now, or if he has one more year left on his contract, Coach Whitting. One prominent alum told me the only reason Todd is still in charge is because he is great at fundraising. So that's the only reason. So the thing is, maybe move him and move him to fundraising. So get him away from managing, coaching, whatever, and moving into fundraising. So maybe that's
bringing money. That'll keep you employed.
So yeah. So hopefully that'll be it. And Mr. Nunez will have his next hire in athletics and get that one right too, because he already did it in women's basketball. He did it in soccer. He did it in softball. He did it in tennis. I think he's cleaned house, Will, and he had to, because there's a lot of mess left for him to clean up. Okay. I'm going to put y'all on the spot. Corey asked it. I don't know y'all's schedule. Same time next week?
Sure.
I think I can. Yeah, I don't think I have a couple Sundays coming up with TV, but I don't think it's next week. So
just let me know.
Okay.
So thank you to everyone. And of course, Will,
Yes, sir.
let me see if I still have it. Will, I should. Your info still the same, right?
Yes.
Let me see. Here we go. Let me see here. All right, new platform. There we go. Let's try it that way.
All right.
Brother Gibson, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you as always. First, I want to use this time to congratulate our sister Kim White Davis on her book. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn when I
Ah,
do that. But you can reach out to me on social media. Will Gibson 7 on Twitter. Will Know Sports on Facebook and Instagram.
Miss Author.
thank you for that. Well, yeah, I have a I'm Kim Davis, and you can find me at Kim White Davis on Twitter or Kim White Davis Media on Instagram. And I want to take 2 seconds to say, like, if you don't know, tennis is my background, and the French Open did a remarkable job of a retirement ceremony for Rafael Nadal, who won 14 French Open titles. So I would say go back and check it out, even if you're not a tennis fan. What they did for Rafi at the French Open, what he's meant to tennis, what he's meant to that tournament, was really, really moving. So check that out. And I'll be talking about my book as if you follow me online. And it's always good to be here. Thank you.
KP.
Hey, it was good to get the crew. I'm not going to say gang. Get the crew back together to see everyone's perspective on things. So yeah. So we'll see you next time.
And I don't know how to replace it. Oh, there we go. All right. Kim, Samuel's putting you on blast. You need a copy of that book right there. All right. Thank you to everyone. To Will, Kenitra, Kim, the audience for the conversation, participating in the conversation. Appreciate everyone for taking time out of their evenings to join us on this edition of Folks Talking Sports. And going to mention again here, the Houston Round Ball Review Media Group will be at the Big 12 Football Media Day. And there's a chance that the media group will be on radio/podcast row at Big 12 Football Media Day. So to everyone, spread the word about Folks Talking Sports. We're back. It's back. Spread the word about the Houston Round Ball Review on YouTube. And then going to wrap it up as Complicated has changed the year. He's got jokes. But since 1994, the Houston Round Ball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.
See you guys.